Welcome back. It is Rivalry Week here at the 4th and 1 podcast. We're coming to you live from Lancaster, Lidditz, and Williams Town. I always forget, Pennsylvania. It is your boy, AKA, coming to you with, as always, Captain Boring himself, Micaiah, and not CFB Insider 3, Robert. Hello, gentlemen, and good day. But before we get this thing going, we just want to say thank you to all our active listeners. No matter how you found us, thanks for following. If you can share this, that would be awesome. But if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Like, comment, engage with us down below. We read your comments last week. Carrie will be on the podcast. We are hoping next week for championship weekends. This is the first my brother is hearing of this.
I forgot that we were probably going to have her on today. I mean, she's upstairs. I can always bring her down later.
I need a full podcast with Carrie. I need her to commit to a full podcast.
Okay. All right. You need a full Monty.
I don't know if she's up for that. Maybe run that by her. If not, we'll at least get her for the pick section.
Hey, Care, you up for a full podcast next week? Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
She says she doesn't know what she's going to talk about on a full podcast.
Love that. We'll walk her through.
Neither do we, baby.
Yeah, but she said she'll sit there and look confused for 45 minutes.
Love that. She'll be the eye candy. Get us
She'll look like Simeon.
Yeah, not looking at Rob. Well, I just realized one of us is going to be in our underwear, so that's going to be a thing. We're going to bring Carrie on. Well, wait, no, don't. Isn't there a 2-week break between championship week? Don't we have Army Navy next week, and then it's championship week?
No, it's the other way around. Real quick, you allowed to wear like shirts and stuff? Because I'm in my basement.
I'm in my attic.
Yeah,
turn up the heat. I guess, Micaiah. I don't know. You're assuming you're going to lose. You're down by 1. Let's go over that since we're here. Micaiah went 2-1, staved off elimination there. How do you have? He is 19-23.
Yep.
And Robert and I are tied with 20 and 22. Those are all records. Carrie is now. Micaiah is updating this. She went 1-4 last week. That is rough.
Yeah.
So she had a couple. We can't all be winners, you know.
Yeah, she had a hot run. She was unbelievably hot. She only had one losing week in like the last 4 weeks. UTSA 3-1.
Yeah, they beat Temple last week.
They lost to Rice, but all of the Owls. All right, so that's it. They finished 3-1 against the Owl Gauntlet.
Against the Owl Gauntlet, they finished 3-1.
Excellent.
All of the coaches got fired. We'll cover that again from last week that they played against. So they played against 4 teams and got their coaches fired. Shout out, what is it, Isaiah McClown? I don't know what that kid's name is. Dylan Jackson? I don't know, with an X. Anyway, so those are kind of the updates there. But more importantly for the updates is I'm trying to do 15 things at once because I still got to pick bets. We have a few new rules, so stick around to the end of the podcast for this week. We're going to pick 4 games this week, and hopefully that will we'll have a winner. Again, the person who loses will have to do it in their underwear in case you didn't pick up from that. Robert's dog really wants love right now.
I just want it known that me and Robert did not sign off on this. So
on the underwear thing?
On the underwear thing, me and Robert did not sign off on this. It was sprung upon us.
Oh, so and on top,
just letting everybody know.
Yeah, well, sometimes
Simeon also cheated halfway through.
I'm going to, you guys get to make one of my picks for me this week. That is what I'm giving to you.
We're gonna do it the other way. What me and Robert are gonna do is and Robert have, since you decided to go on a 4-week run of just picking money lines, me and Robert are going to each pick one money line this week.
Okay, if that's what you want to do, I will pick my game. And again, those could be the rules that Micaiah made was that I could not take a favorite money line. I had to take an underdog money line, and so I did. I did do that, and that was my
Last
one
week.
win
Against
last
Kansas.
week.
Yeah, it was a great call.
And my other one lost with 8 minutes to go. So that was a 4-point loss. My other one was a half-point loss. So I was this close away for going 3-0, but that's how it be. It do be like that sometimes.
I was literally a yard short from going away from being 3-0. However, Robert, let's get into this.
Yeah, please bet responsibly.
Bet responsibly, play games a chance responsibly. Let's just get into
the degenerate
elephant in the room, which is
SEC?
the Alabama Crimson Tide and the SEC Hot Mess Express. So Alabama had it all laid out ahead of them. They just had to roll into Norman and get a win. And they didn't not only not get a win, they didn't even come close. 24-3 was the final. Jackson Arnold turned into Jalen Milroe. The SEC, in terms of standings, now with that loss and the Ole Miss loss, we'll get into that in just a little bit, puts Georgia in the SEC title game. They will play the winner of Texas A&M and Texas, which is Saturday night. So what did you see from Alabama, Oklahoma? And then why don't you just roll that into what you see or not see from Florida, Ole Miss?
You want to talk about an absolute beatdown from start to finish and the most demoralized Alabama Crimson Tide team that you have seen in a long time. And I'm pretty sure somewhere in the early episodes, there was some people making comments. Alabama's going to be fine. Alabama's this, Alabama that. Well, guess who was right? Alabama not going to the SEC title game this year. Very possibly might not go to the playoffs at all this year. That would be a very tough if they put a 3-loss SEC team in there. That would be very hard to argue, in my opinion,
without making the conference championship game, because Georgia's probably going to get in. Yeah,
yes,
if they lose,
that would be very tough. Who was next? Florida,
Ole Miss.
DJ Lagway strikes again. Like Lane Kiffin. I texted you.
That was Ole Miss choking
very early in that game, and I said Lane Kiffin is the reason this team is going to lose this game.
Yep,
they went on 4th down like 5 separate times, and they put that big number 89 in the backfield, whose one job is literally run straight right up the center's ass, down everyone's throat. That is his job. And Lane Kiffin's like, you know what we should do? This guy's like 350 pounds. Let's try and get him to the outside and have Jackson Dart block. He whiffed so bad. Didn't even try.
He didn't even. There was no whiffing. He didn't try.
And I was like, he lost like 3 yards.
Wait,
I'm like,
that noise again.
What is going on with that team? I was so distraught with that game because that is a game that Ole Miss should have just handedly won. But Lane Kiffin once again gets it in his own way, and I said he probably should be fired because, again, Ole Miss with this team starts off great. They don't have to play Alabama this year. They beat Georgia this year, and they're going to be sitting there probably December 29th playing against, I don't know, give me Illinois in like a Tax Slayer Bowl.
Good recollection on the bowl game. So a few things for everyone, a few housekeeping. What Robert said was 100% true. Robert, however, the one thing you said was people didn't say Alabama would be fine in the comments. You said that Kalen DeBoer never won a national championship at Washington, and so that wasn't going to translate to Alabama. And then the comments clapped back at you saying, well, it took Harbaugh 8 years to win a national title. and then that's when you started keeping the receipts. Either way, you're correct. Just to put the analytical thing on Oklahoma, Alabama, Jalen Milroe threw 3 interceptions. His QBR was 15. That's on a scale of 0 to 10. Jackson Arnold threw 11 passes. 12 passes were thrown in total. Jackson Arnold threw for 68 yards. This is like Micaiah Dynasty playing. They ran for 257, including Jackson Arnold, 25 carries for $131. Xavier Robinson ran 18 times, 107 for 2 touchdowns. So when Robert says that this wasn't a game from start to finish, when this was a domination from start to finish, he absolutely was right. Oklahoma dominated the line of scrimmage. Oklahoma literally said, we're just going to take Alabama's game plan about running Jalen Milroe, and we're just going to do that with Jackson Arnold. This should have been Alabama's game plan against Oklahoma. They probably would have won. On the flip side, Ole Miss left. They lost by 7. They left 9 points on the table. They failed to convert 2 fourth and shorts inside the red zone, and then they missed an easy inside a 40-yard field goal. So they left 9 points on the table. They ran it off tackle with their big man, number 89, J.J. Pegues. He did have 6 carries for 19 yards, but they kept running it off tackle, as Robert said, not up the gut. And then Jackson Dart, on the last 2 Ole Miss possessions, which they had the ball to go down and tie the game, he threw not 1 interceptions, not 2 interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions. It's just that the one was then dropped. He caught it and fell, and he didn't complete the process of the catch. So then they jogged back onto the field, new life. All you got to do is not turn the ball over immediately. Next play, interception. So Ole Miss, that's why I did the choking. Just choke this away. Choke their opportunity for the college football playoff away. They didn't even have to play in the SEC title game. All they had to do was beat Florida and beat Mississippi State this weekend, which is a high probability because Mississippi State is just trash this season, at least. Jeff Lebby trying to get things together down there in Starkville. And they just didn't do anything. So you're 100% right with the fact that Lane Kiffin just kind of choked this away. The Florida job's no longer open for Lane Kiffin to run off to, so we will have to see how hot his seat gets come next season, because this is a very expensive team, much like Ohio State. But unlike Ohio State, Ole Miss is on the outside looking into the college football playoff more than likely. Robert, another game. Why Simeon is still getting his life together here. I'm trying to cover for him in
You're doing a great job,
in the recap section. The other utter domination that was the top 5 matchup of the day between Indiana and Ohio State. Raise your hand if you said last week that you kind of saw this coming.
Did I? I don't remember.
You did. You can go ahead and raise your hand.
Yep,
all right.
Gotcha.
Great. Thank you, Robert. So Indiana goes down, makes it 7-0, and then it was all Ohio State all from there. It was 7-7. Then Ohio State blocked a kick, got a touchdown right before half, and then a punt return to start the second half. Indiana went 3 and out. Punt return touchdown by Caleb Downs, the transfer from Alabama, and it was all Ohio State. And when I mean all Ohio State, let me just get you something real quick. Indiana had 68 yards passing and 85 yards rushing. If anyone wants to do quick math before I click on that, that is a grand total of 153 total yards. They had 84 total yards halfway through the fourth quarter. So a lot of that was their final kind of touchdown drive. Ohio State then punched it in to look good to the committee and try to prove a point because Ryan Day is a pussy. So what reactions from Indiana, Ohio State?
Sorry, Mom.
I kind of feel like there's 2 reactions you can have. You can have the overreaction, which is kind of like what I was having, where I was like, yeah, Indiana is exactly who the nation is saying they are, and Ohio State's way better than what they are. Or you can have the more down-to-earth reaction where, yes, Indiana finally faced a team that they were just better. The players are better. Everything was better for Ohio State. And Ohio State quickly took Indiana out of their, everything. They took them out of exactly what they wanted to do, and all they did was pressure, 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 pressure. Rourke couldn't, he couldn't take 2 steps without someone just being in his face. I do have to say it was a actual poor job by Signetti for not adjusting to Ohio State, because from the first half to the second half, it was the same tone. I thought Indiana was going, like, at the end of the first quarter when it was 7-0, I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be pretty good." And then it was like Jim Knowles was like, "Flip the switch. Remember the Titans. We're going to blitz all night." And that was it.
Wink Martindale really, when Indiana played Michigan, wrote how to defend Indiana, which is if you have better athletes in the trenches and on the outside, which Ohio State and Michigan defensively does at least, it is man-to-man, blitz, and make Curtis Rourke uncomfortable, and that's exactly what they did. Will Howard is having a phenomenal season, a quietly phenomenal season. Did throw an interception, wasn't his fault. Tight end dropped it, bounced off his hands, interception, or this score would have been 45-15. But Will Howard was 22 of 26 for 201, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I will keep going back to the running game for Ohio State, and people in the comments will say, "Oh, you're a Michigan fan. You hate Ohio State." Yes, that is true. But when I watch Ohio State, they have 2 great running backs. They have a decent offensive line. I know they're dealing with a lot of injuries, but they only ran the ball 29 times for $115. Like, Ryan Day wants to prove a point that he is bigger, tougher, and faster than Michigan, and bigger, tougher, and faster than every single team in the trenches in the Big Ten. And they're just not doing it. And I'm not saying you can't win football games, and I'm not saying you can't win a national championship. But what I'm saying is when you line up against Indiana and you average 4 yards a carry, and Quinshon Junkins, who is your primary back that day, carried the ball 14 times for 36 yards. That's 2.6 yards a carry. All I'm saying is you might want to figure that out. Okay, and then just to really touch on the other top 25 matchup on the day. Well, actually, there are 2 more, so let's just get into the first one really quickly. Rob, Notre Dame, understand their schedule kind of is soft. Not 100% their fault because a lot of teams on their schedule kind of suck, but the 2 academy schools help out with that a little bit, but they were pretty good this year. Notre Dame, since their loss to NIU, kind of, you said they're the team that has their identity the most.
Yeah, they found that run game, and they've been riding that run game for the past, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. And I'm sure they're going to do it again against USC. And they're actually letting Riley Leonard throw the ball, which is something that I don't think he really did between the Texas A&M game and the Northern Illinois game. But now he's finally starting to open up. You kind of look at Notre Dame and you say, yeah, they haven't played anybody. But I think that's kind of working better in their favor than it did Indiana. Because Notre Dame, I think if they would match up against Ohio State, I bet you the game is a lot closer, if not Notre Dame kind of coming out on top. But, I think Notre Dame's got to stop playing academy schools. They have to.
Yeah,
and it's nothing against the academy schools because they always play tough football. It's, some people don't like it, but they always play tough. But you're Notre Dame. You're not in a conference. You can literally play any Tom, Dick, or Harry in the college football world, and you're going to say, you know what? Give me Army, give me Navy, and then give me whoever else. Like, get somebody on there that has some sort of ranking.
I agree. That's my only downfall with Notre Dame. as you said, Notre Dame, they have their identity, which is running the football and playing good defense, and they've been doing it since NIU. They've always been playing good defense. All year long, they've played good defense. It's just finally their identity. They're passing the ball a little bit more. Again, kind of going back cut to that 2021 Michigan squad that didn't throw the ball a whole lot, but ran the ball like 70% of the time. All right, Rob, 2 more games to get into, and then we will go wherever Simeon wants to go. It is the other top 25 matchup of the day, which ended in a $40,000 fine for the Sun Devils of Arizona State. And why did it end in a $40,000 fine? Because you are trusting college kids to know when to rush the field. Arizona State upset BYU. Arizona State in a messy Big 12 standings, and you can't even get into it because the Big 12 has reported there are 125 scenarios. I'm being legitimate. 125 scenarios of different matchups for the Big 12 title game. We have 4 teams currently sitting at 6-2 or 7-2 atop the conference, and then you have a whole bunch of teams right now at 5-3 right behind that. So there's common opponents play into this. So honestly, we're not even going to get into scenarios because it is so messy. You're just going to have to wait until next week's pod to find out who made the Big 12 title game, because even the Big 12 doesn't know. There isn't Arizona sits atop this Big 12 standings. It isn't even Arizona win, you're in. Colorado, you win, you're in. Iowa State, you win, you're in. There are scenarios where Iowa State and Arizona State, who are the 2 most likely to go, both win Saturday and still don't get in. So it is very a hot mess express. However, Arizona State went up 21-3. BYU came all the way back to get it within 5. Arizona State had a pick to take them down to the 6-yard line. Robert, this is when you chimed into the chat and you said, so Arizona State had it 1st and goal and then just ran backwards for 26 yards and then lost 10 more yards, and now it's 4th and goal from like the 40-yard line. So that's exactly what happened. Instead of punching it in and going up 12, Arizona State basically tried to waste the last 30-some seconds by running backwards. They ran backwards all the way to their own, so still on their side of the 50, like 49-yard line. And then took a snap.
4th and goal on the 49, basically.
4th and goal on the 49. Did a little like half rollout and just chucked the ball into the stands. Crowd rushes the field. Everyone's happy. Problem is, there's 1 second left, and now you have to get 15,000 people off of the field. Kenny Dillingham was just screaming at the refs. I don't know. He should be fined, honestly. His actions were totally inappropriate. The refs got it right, did everything right. BYU then completed the Hail Mary, except the Hail Mary was completed at the 3-yard line and not in the end zone. So Arizona State did end up winning after like a 15-minute delay. Here are 2 things about this college football season that I have both enjoyed and just find infuriating. Both things, Robert, are you with me with this? And Simeon, bottles now being thrown, cans when the kids don't like what they're doing, and just not timing your field storming right. It's not that hard to just wait and make sure the game is actually over.
Did you watch the John Boy, shout out to John Boy again, breakdown of this?
I did not. Maybe I should do that.
He did one, and if you want to know what Kenny Dillingham, the dude looks like he's perpetually high, by the way, shout out.
He probably is.
He just looks like he has no idea what's going on.
What is this? ASU is this, right?
Yeah, I think so. But clearly he knows what he's doing. They lined up in the tunnels beforehand. So it's actually on security. And not only that, I think it's actually on the conference and therefore the refs. I'm with the refs here. I think if you storm the field, yeah, fine, or whatever the case is. Also, if you're BYU, guys, I get it. There's 1 second left. Come on to the coach and go, yeah, we'll stop the game. It's fine. There's 1 second left. Yes, I have to play it. But, like, it's on the conference for not saying we'll allow you to storm the field, or if you're going to storm the field, you have to wait for sure until the other team clears the field. Yeah. And you can storm it. And then on top of that, if you are going to allow it, then that's what you're going to do. And if you don't want to allow it, you got to be more than $45,000. And then BYU should have probably just forfeited to make life easier, and they shouldn't have let kids in the tunnel to begin with. Like, there's so many variables that it was just a dumb ASU move of a decision. Also, get rid of the bottles because you're 100% right. Micaiah, move on to your next point. Maybe Robert wanted to comment. I don't know what it was, but I don't know. I was just infuriated at the result.
I mean, so I'm going to be the 87-year-old white man in the room.
Let's go.
So here's my biggest. I think you should. The conference minimum of a fine. This 25,000, 40,000 is no 750,000 million right off the bat. They storming the field has become less special because
since 2020,
everyone does it. Everyone does it. We have a 21 beating a 14 storm the field. Like, that's where I'm like
beating Alabama as Oklahoma storm the field. Like, if you beat Alabama this year, you basically stormed the field.
Here's the thing: if you are unranked and you beat the number one team, money's well worth it. Storm the field. I don't think storming the field. Right. I don't think storming the field does anything for anyone anymore, except cause potential like player safety issues, because that's what, that's the big thing. Player safety, player safety, player safety. But this is the biggest player safety violation you can have, is when you just have random drunk college people storming fields. And if you are a college that still serves bottles, that screams, I'm an SEC school with a less tier education and a less tier IQ. Because you can't go to any, well, I don't know if any, but probably 75%, if not more, professional events, no bottles.
Yeah, it's all cups.
Exactly.
Well, they got away with the bottles after Malice in a Palace. The metal cans. Do you guys remember the Malice in the Palace, the basketball game?
Palace, but was it that one, or was it because when did the Jags and Browns, that whole fiasco, that was bottles.
That too, yeah. I mean, I think it kind of happened around the same time.
Whatever.
They moved to more like aluminum now in stadiums because it's harder to throw.
Better, though.
There's no glass. Aluminum bottles are hard to throw. I don't know if you've tried to throw an aluminum bottle. They don't go as far.
They do when they're full.
It's really
okay. Well, then I'm going to be questioning who's throwing full alcohol.
Well, not like
field.
full, but like.
Oh yeah. You got
you're
some
getting
in it.
to a point where it's like, oh well, they stopped serving at the end of the fourth quarter or beginning of the fourth quarter. If it's a close game, there's a good possibility for that entire fourth quarter. I'm not really drinking my beer.
I've gone to an event with an alcoholic. You go and you get multiple. You go at last call and you get two or three drinks, and then you have drinks for the rest of the game.
Robert, I'm with your point where now storming the field isn't special anymore. It got so much to the point where, and I know that they played at Arrowhead, so it was a professional stadium. However, whatever they did at Arrowhead, because Kansas beat Colorado, dominated Colorado, let's put it that way. When that happened, I half expected the Kansas fans there to storm the field, and they didn't. So what are professional stadiums doing to keep the field storming at a minimum?
That's probably because it's probably the Kansas City Chiefs security team that's there.
Right. So
they probably have to go by NFL rules.
Right. You're right.
College.
You're right. But then how do they keep it? The other option is
no one in Kansas wants to storm the field. That's how they
do what Clemson does. Clemson says, no. We don't need. If you say, hey, we're all going to storm the field at the end of every game, which is what they do at the end of the game. They go, absolutely, you're not allowed to say storm the field, because that's not what we're doing. All the fans are invited to the field, onto the field after the game, but you need to come in a mild manner. You leave the other team alone, and we're just meeting at the center. That's what they call it. They call it a meet at middle field, at midfield. I almost said the center, whatever. But it's not a storming. It's a invitation. Everyone is welcome, but everyone just needs to take their time and be safe, and everyone leaves the other team alone and all of that. So if you're going to storm the field, then call it something else and just invite people onto the field. But we need to like come up with a better system. And
Or
more
just
importantly,
get the other team off the field.
yeah, just
Get
wait.
the team, the coaches, like get the last thing you need as a college is some sort of incident, and now there's a whole nother mess.
It is when Ohio State beats Michigan on Saturday, because there are 3 touchdown favorites.
Oh, they're gonna storm the field.
Are
they're
they
gonna
because
they're gonna shoot fireworks off. They're gonna rip their goalposts down. They might even burn Columbus down.
if that happens, because the last 2 times Michigan's beaten Ohio State in Ann Arbor, it's been a field storming. Now that's each time it's been a top 5 matchup, and then they went to Columbus in between there. And Michigan beat them. That's weak sauce. You can't storm the field. I get it. It's a rivalry game and it's the game, but come on, right? But Robert, would you bet your mortgage payment on the fact that Ohio State fans, when they beat Michigan on Saturday, are storming the field?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
For the record, he pays
it's
like $2 for his mortgage, so it's not that much.
All right, $2.50. All right, $2.50. Let's not get carried away here.
All right, I want to go over. We went over. There's 150. You said 150 scenarios for the Big 12, right? I heard that right.
I'll something like that.
Okay. While you're looking those up,
Yeah.
Robert, who do we know is locked? We know the Americans locked.
I'm
right?
sorry.
Oh, I was like for the Big 12. No, what?
No.
Yeah, good.
Big 12 says 256 scenarios play to decide the title game.
Okay, so let's come back to the Big 12 because clearly we're going to need to spend some time on that one to unpack that just a little bit.
Yep.
So we know. Let's start with what we know. American locked up, right?
Yeah, Army
Yep.
Tulane.
Let's go.
Army, Tulane, let's go. Tulane takes on Memphis, who is in 4th place. Obviously, there's nothing to play for.
And
besides...
they're a 2.5 touchdown favorite. They're a 14.5 point favorite. That's a little high to me. I'm not taking it, but that's a little high to me.
I think that game is in Yeoman Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to double check that here real quick for you. But
that's so high for a team playing already in the championship game, and then Memphis playing for nothing.
They're home at New Orleans.
Somebody knows something. That's what that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure if people are already chilling out. I don't know if they're expecting people to chill out. Like, it's been the opposite this year. Normally, when teams are supposed to chill, see Kansas, they've been upsetting people and still playing for stuff.
Well,
so,
they're probably looking at it because Tulane
might sit people too.
Well, Tulane needs a win more than anything because they're one Boise State slip up away from being that next team in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And
small percentage,
if I may, depending on who gets in on the Big 12, and if Boise State, Tulane win out, whatever, could the Big 12 get left out? Probably not, but fun to think about. Anyway,
fun
sorry,
to
go
think
ahead.
about. Let's go.
Depends on who it is.
Yeah,
let's go over to the ACC. Do we know who's locked up there?
I do.
SMU.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Is that the only team that's locked up?
Yes. The scenarios are Miami goes to Syracuse on Saturday. They win. They are in. Clemson has already parked in the garage of ACC play because they take on South Carolina in a rivalry game. Miami loses. Clemson's in. Those are the scenarios.
Awesome. Love that. Louisville technically upset Kentucky last week.
Louisville plays Kentucky this week.
My bad. Georgia Tech plays
Watch out
Georgia
for the field
rivalry
storm.
week. Watch out for
the field storm of a 4. And listen, Kentucky, who's 4-7, they might if they win.
Who knows? All right, we're coming back to the Big 12. Big 10. Oregon's in. We know that.
Oregon is in. Robert, I think this is Ohio State win. They're in. Ohio State loses. Penn State's in.
Yeah, so Penn State has to win and Ohio State has to lose for Penn State to get in. Indiana needs Ohio State and Penn State to lose for Indiana to get in. And if Ohio State wins, Ohio State's in.
Yeah. Penn State.
So Ohio State and
Maryland.
Oregon are in the Big Ten title game. Thank you, everybody, for coming to my Michigan fandom depression TED Talk.
You're welcome. Conference USA. It looks like Jacksonville State, Liberty. They're playing next week, I think. Because I think, yes, they will be playing next week.
Yeah.
Jacksonville State takes on Western Kentucky, and Liberty takes on Sam Houston State.
It's TBD, actually.
It is TBD because you are correct. Liberty takes on Jacksonville State, takes on Western Kentucky. Liberty takes on Sam Houston. Those both teams are 5-2 in conference. So in theory, Western Kentucky could win, and Sam Houston could win, and then one of those two teams would get into the conference game.
What happens if they both win?
I don't know. They both might get in. So,
right. So can I look that up? You guys can keep talking. All right, great.
As we move on to the MAC, which is very interesting to me. At the top of the MAC, Miami of Ohio, and Bowling Green are at the top at 6-1, with Buffalo there at 5-2. Robert? Do you know about the MAC?
You're just gonna skip over Ohio, who's 6-1?
I said Ohio. I said Miami of Ohio, Ohio.
Oh, okay. That all ran
Bowling
together
Green.
for me. So Miami, Ohio, and Bowling Green play this week. So one of them is going to be eliminated right off the bat.
Yep, awesome.
So the winner of that one is definitely going, and then Ohio plays Ball State. So as long as Ohio wins, that puts them in, and Ohio's loss was to
I have both right
Miami,
now.
Ohio.
So Miami of Ohio would be in. What do you have both? Do you have both answers?
I have both answers.
All right, start with MAC.
Okay, so for MAC, it's a 4-team race.
Yeah.
Ohio, who plays Ball State, as Robert says, Robert, way to be, controls its own destiny. With a win, the Bobcats would take on the winner of Bowling Green versus Miami. That's our most likely championship matchup. Believe it or not, Buffalo still has an outside chance. The Bulls would need to finish in a 3-way tie for second with Miami and Ohio, which would require a win plus losses from both Miami and Ohio. If Bowling Green loses to Miami, it can still get to Detroit if Ball State pulls off the upset over Ohio, while Miami would need losses by both Ohio and Buffalo versus Kent State in the event of a loss. So right now it looks like Ohio will take on the winner of Miami Bowling Green, and if Ohio loses, it would be both. It would be
TBD.
It would probably be both Bowling Green and Miami. Assuming Buffalo loses.
So Conference USA, you said you had that one as well.
Yes, Conference USA. So Jacksonville State is in. They are hosting the title game. If Liberty wins at Sam Houston on Friday, the Flames will clinch the other spot. So we'll know this shortly after the podcast is released, which would make the Western Kentucky Jacksonville State game completely meaningless on Saturday. However, if Sam Houston beats Liberty, it would need Western Kentucky to lose at home to Jacksonville State, who's not really playing for anything. If Western Kentucky wins, in that scenario, the Hilltoppers would face Jacksonville State. So really, it's Jacksonville State's already in. If Liberty wins, they are in. If Sam Houston would be in with a win and a Western Kentucky loss. Western Kentucky would be in with a win if Liberty loses. So there you have it.
Cool. Awesome. Oh, we did call Pac-12. We do have a Pac-12 champion. Shout out to the Oregon State Beavers.
Let's go.
Actual upsetting. Another field storming that happened. Upset the Washington Cougars last week. Don't know the score of the game. No one cares. So we're going to move on.
High scoring one.
So we're gonna. I think it was. We're going to move on to the
40-something, 30-something.
Yeah, 38-41, I think.
We're going to move over.
It's a really good game. Yeah.
We're going to move over to the
field storming was totally.
I hate you guys so much. Robert, you were so mean in the group in the Dynasty chat to me this week.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to move over to the new Pac-12. We got a 2-way tie UNLV, Colorado State. Mackay, I'm assuming this is also on whatever article you are currently reading.
You mean the Mountain West?
Mountain West,
Yeah.
the new Pac-12. That's what I said. Yep. And
Kind of a win in your in scenario.
I would assume, because they're playing each other this weekend, correct?
Well,
So Boise State's already in.
Yep.
Right.
7-0.
They
10-1.
will likely host. The Broncos will take on UNLV if the Rebels can win a home game versus Nevada as large favorites.
Rivalry game,
Quote
yeah.
unquote from the article from the Action Network. Colorado State is also still alive, but would need to win and have UNLV lose. If both lose, UNLV and Colorado State, UNLV will likely get to the nod due to the computer ranking tiebreaker. So more than likely it's Boise State and UNLV, with Colorado State just hanging out there.
Possibly hanging out there. SEC.
We covered that already.
Who's in? I don't even know who's in. Texas and Georgia?
Georgia is 100% in.
And they will take on the winner of Texas A&M.
Texas and A&M, yeah.
Oh. Okay. Interesting. I didn't remember covering this. You'll have to forgive me. It's probably when I was making my picks. So there is something. That's not what I got from SEC shorts and SEC
I am
roll
curious,
call.
like, how Tennessee's kind of hanging out there.
What do you mean?
So Tennessee's in third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Texas A&M beat Tennessee?
They didn't play.
Okay.
No, but
So-
they lost to Georgia, didn't they?
Then Well, Georgia, to me, that doesn't matter. But so if Texas A&M beats Texas,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that puts them at 6-2. Tennessee, I'm assuming, has a conference game this weekend, right?
Vandy, yep.
So if they win, they're 6-2.
Yep.
How would A&M go in before Tennessee?
It's got to be some sort of tiebreakers or something. Let's see here. Hold on. Actually, it's
This is where
literally
it doesn't-
it's literally one sentence. It's Georgia has clinched a spot in Atlanta and will take on the winner of A&M and Texas.
I wonder how. Like, what is the? Because you're literally taking I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
But, I mean, if that's
it's
what the
got to be
computer
tiebreakers. The Sun Belt, just to punctuate this, Simeon,
Thank you.
is super complicated, and it is one of the only conferences left that has divisions. So
It's the only conference left that has divisions.
great, wonderful. It's the only conference left. So let's start with the East, which is now a 2-team race between Marshall and Georgia Southern. Marshall clinches with a win over JMU or a loss by Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern clinches with a win plus a Marshall loss. So Marshall controls its own destiny.
Yeah.
The West, Louisiana holds a 1-game lead over both Arkansas State and South Alabama. As a result, Louisiana clinches with a win on Saturday versus Louisiana Monroe. They are 9-point favorites, I think. Or a South Alabama lost to Texas State on Friday. South Alabama owns the head-to-head tiebreaker over Louisiana, so it would clinch with a win plus a Louisiana loss. If there's a 3-way tie at the top in the West, South Alabama would win the West due to the division tiebreakers, since all 3 teams would have 1-1 records against each other, while Arkansas State can share a division title. It has been eliminated from Sun Belt Championship game unless the league decides to alter its 3-way tiebreaker scenarios this week. Keep in mind the host is still to be determined. So
Interesting. Holy ticket price.
what just happened?
Robert dropped it in the chat for the Micaiah. Don't look.
Okay.
Stop looking.
What?
Guess what the largest. This is the cheapest, most expensive ticket. So the most expensive ticket that is the cheapest to get. Guess the price
Of the cheapest or most expensive ticket?
Most expensive ticket. I was giving the context. To the
what
listeners.
game is it?
I'll be nice.
Uh-huh.
Texas at Texas A&M.
Oh, I should have guessed that. Okay. $983.
You know, your exaggeration is not incorrect. $525 is the cheapest ticket to go to that game at Kyle Field.
So with fees and
wait, that's what you saw? Oh, brother, go to Friday.
what just happened?
No, there's no way it cost $4,352 to go to the Georgia Tech game.
That's what I thought your reaction was to.
That's an error. That's an error. The you can get his ticket for $241. If you click on it, it takes you to Vivid Seats. That's an error. That's hilarious, though.
I was like, hold the phone.
Wow.
I get it. There's a slight upset chance there just because of how Georgia Tech has played. And, of course, they would love to play some spoiler to Georgia, who's at 10 right now.
So I just clicked on it, and it went from 2,400 to 4,300. The ticket price.
Mine's been at 4,300.
Oh, no, mine originally said 2,400, and now it's 4,300, so that's
it's
funny.
Bouncing. So this ticket is in flux, so the cheapest ticket might be a couple grand.
It's a hot commodity right now.
However,
the game is in Athens on a Friday, so that does make sense.
Going back to Saturday night, Texas A&M $525 after fees and stuff. That ticket probably is like $750.
Well, let's head over there. That's the ABC game. Texas is a 5.5-point favorite. The game is at Kyle Field. This is the renewal. First time in how many years that these two teams have played each other?
Since 2011, Justin Tucker hit a walk-off field goal. And how's Justin Tucker's season going? Quite bad.
Quite bad. Most kickers are for some reason. No one's quite sure why.
Pat McAfee isn't preaching for the brand anymore, you know?
I don't know. Isaiah Punts isn't telling us anything. Isaac Punts, sorry. I always have that guy's name wrong in my head. He's on YouTube. Look him up. He's great.
He's not the only one who gets the name wrong. Don't get offended.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith.
Devon Smith, I think is what I called him a few times. Shout
Dante
out.
Smith.
Dante Smith. So 7:30 p.m., that's a renewal game. Again, it's kind of a win-and-you're-in scenario for whatever reason for the SEC Championship game. I don't know if either of you have, what either of you have for this game. I would assume, is Quinn Ewers playing? I thought I heard he might not be. He might be injured.
Why wouldn't he play? Did you?
You got me, dog.
Okay. It could be wrong. I'll double check.
No,
but
sure. That's so funny because on the SEC roll call this week,
that's why I'm bringing it up.
They also said
MRI confirms Texas QB Quinn Ewers injured before Texas A&M game. Athlon Sports. Shout out.
Ankle injury. This is going to be Quinn Ewers' biggest problem. And Rob, I said this at the beginning of the season. Quinn Ewers is going to miss some time this season, so it's going to be how Arch Manning does in his absence. He did quite well. Scary moment, limped off the field following a touchdown run. He kind of finished the game, but they really just ran the ball. Ewers finished with 191 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Mild ankle sprain.
I'm going to say he's going to play in the biggest rivalry game, in Texas's biggest game. Can Texas afford not to make the championship game and get in still?
We're going to find out if...
I think we're looking at a scenario where Texas is saying, we think we're just as good with Arch.
Yeah, sure.
Do we say to Quinn, hey, I want you to suit up, take your reps, do your thing, but I'm trying to reconnect. We're going to hold you out and let Arch play to try and save Quinn for playoffs.
It could be
championship game and playoffs.
And let's kind of flip the quarterback situation around. Texas A&M, yes, they've kind of gone back and forth. Connor Wegman, Marcel Reed, Marcel Reed's kind of been doing cleanup here in the last couple weeks. And when I say cleanup, I mean starting. They're more so a running football team with Marcel Reed. They got upset by Auburn in double overtime, which was a fantastic game. Fantastic finish. Auburn kind of happy for them. Marcel Reed had 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, was efficient there. But can he be trusted to kind of throw the ball from behind if they would need him to? He's not so much the thrower as more of the improviser runner. This will be awesome. I think this is a defensive battle. I would, though, take Texas just because they do have the better quarterbacks in Robert's scenario. I don't think that I would probably take the Aggies plus the points, but I would also kind of hammer the under 48.5.
I think that's fair. Other rivalry games in that lineup time slot, we obviously got Nevada, UNLV. That's 8 p.m. on CBS Sport Network. Oregon, Washington, 19-point favorites. I'm not really worried about Oregon over there.
Florida State, anybody?
That was next, sir.
How does Florida go?
Is there any chance?
No chance, no shot in hell.
How does Florida go from just down in the dumps, not making a bowl game, Billy Napier should be fired, getting blown out by Texas, to probably going to be Florida State? They're 14.5-point favorite. So assuming they win at Florida State, they're going to go 6-6 and be bowl eligible. And DJ Lagway is just going to have hype train next season.
You bench Graham Mertz. That is how you turn the season around. Graham Mertz was bad at Wisconsin. We knew this. We said this last year, and he was bad this year. They put DJ in. You want to win? Put DJ in.
They actually had to because Graham Mertz had an injury and couldn't play anymore. But
yeah,
a win is a win.
Blessing.
A win is a win, my dude.
7 p.m. FS1, Indiana, Purdue. That game should be a blowout. And the question is, do you take Indiana minus 28.5?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think that's fair. I'm just scrolling down as we go here.
Purdue's so bad.
So bad. Lots of good action for you. Obviously, we got what do they call the Arizona State 3:30 on Fox? What do they call that rivalry? I always forget.
Is it this Silver Spittoon?
Something like that. I mean,
Victory Bell?
What's the? I think Makai's Googling it.
I am.
Is 8.5 for Arizona State? I mean, Arizona doesn't got anything to play for. Arizona State has everything to play for. I mean, you take Arizona by 1 million, right?
Duel in the desert is what it's called.
Duel in the desert. Right. Cool. Don't care. So we're all taking Arizona State in that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would take Arizona plus the points.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think that game's a lot closer because of what you said. Arizona State has Big 12 championship playoff playoff aspirations. And Arizona, nothing to play for, can't get bowl eligible. Let's get on it and get on it quick. It's at Arizona too.
That is the battle for the oldest rivalry trophy.
That's what they say.
The Territorial Cup.
But it is not the oldest rivalry.
Right.
That game is on at... Where is that game on? With
Friday.
Control F working. Yes, we have Friday football. It's on 12 at CBS. Camp Randall. Minnesota at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's giving 2 points right now. Minnesota almost upset Penn State last week. Is that who they played?
Yeah.
That was close. Don't love that for Penn State. Should be a good game Friday. Yeah?
I think so. It's a rivalry. It's definitely... it's the oldest FBS rivalry because Princeton, Yale technically is the oldest, and you have Louisiana, Lafayette, Georgia, Auburn's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Territorial Cup, the duel in the desert there, is the oldest trophy, but the oldest kind of, or maybe it's one that has played most often. Maybe that's it. I think that's it.
Who knows? I don't know. Not me. I missed some rivalries on Saturday before we get back to Friday. Obviously, we have the big one. We do find out whoever is the winner. I would assume. I don't know what the trophy's called. Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan, and Central Michigan. They all play for a trophy. It's one of the only 3 rivalry games with the Commanders.
Yeah, it's one of those Commander Cup kind of deals.
Yeah, 100%. They play at 1:30. Makai wants to say something.
Minnesota, Wisconsin they've played the most rivalry games at 133. That is FBS. However, Lafayette and Lehigh have played the most in all of college football, 160. Yale, Princeton are 146. Yale, Harvard, 140. Richmond and William and Mary are 135.
It's because Lehigh and Lafayette are in the same area and in the same division for forever.
So, and I just want it known that the Deep South's oldest rivalry and the South's oldest rivalry have played the same amount of times, and that is $1.29.
Seems like we need to figure out new names for those two.
Yeah, but I think we had a podcast episode which was North Carolina is technically the Deep South or something like that.
Yeah, that was the title, something like that. Notre Dame USC play 3:30 Saturday.
Give
CBS.
me ND.
Huh?
Give me ND.
ND -7.5. Yeah, I take that too. Again,
It's a pretty good one.
Notre Dame has wanted to just blow people out after their loss to Northern Illinois in order to prove their worth in all semblance of the word and for what they're going on. Obviously, Louisiana, UL Monroe, we don't care about, but it is technically a rivalry game, as is UConn and Massachusetts. UConn -10. You're going to take UConn minus the points?
I don't know. UMass played really well against Georgia.
UMass fired Don Brown. Shocker there. They do better. So I would take UConn to win, UMass plus the points.
Love that for you. Obviously, we already covered it. Louisville, Kentucky play each other. Louisville's only a 4-point favorite. Taking Louisville minus the points in that one, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
No.
I'm sorry. I just want to cover all the rivalries, and then we're going to get to picks. You'll have to forgive me. We got Vandy, Tennessee. I think they call that the Battle for the Border, if I'm not mistaken.
Vandy, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Vandy, Tennessee rivalry is called nothing.
Oh, nice. Okay. Tennessee minus 10.5. What are you guys taking?
I would take Tennessee minus the 10.5. Vandy's kind of fallen off a little bit. Yeah.
The magic's kind of wearing out.
The Diego Pavia, ever since he lost his little lawsuit or whatever, he's
Interesting. That
falling
game's
off.
12 ABC Saturday. Michigan, Ohio State, 12 p.m. Fox. We already covered that. I think we're all taking Ohio State, which is now ESPN bets minus 21.
Yep.
Instead it was 20.5 a little bit ago. We obviously got the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State. A true classic, Nebraska, Iowa. Georgia Tech. These are all Friday games. As well as Stanford, San Jose State, for any of you who care, which is exactly none of you, as it should be, because I don't even think that's a rivalry.
Black Friday college football is the best college football day of the year. There will be upsets. There will be awesome games. If you look around and you're just like, all of these games are trash, none of those games will be trash. I can guarantee you that.
Expect none of them, and that starts at Oregon State at 12. Oregon State, Boise State at 12 on Fox and goes to 8 p.m. on Fox. Utah takes on UCF. All right, we teased this at the beginning of the show. We're talking about it now. It's picks time, baby.
Let's go.
Just to refresh everybody,
Let's go.
in case it's been an hour. So Micaiah is currently in last at 19 and 23. Robert and I are both tied for first at 20 and 22.
We've been bad. Everyone's been bad.
Everyone's
It's been
been
a
bad
rough
except
year.
for Carrie. Except for Carrie. She's been great. Here's the deal. We're picking We're picking 4 games for kicks and giggles. No one knows why, including the people who picked it. Last game has to be the FCS, which starts their playoffs this weekend. I think the D3 and D2 are both 1 or 2 weeks into their playoffs.
Yeah, something like that.
Shout out. We don't know what those updates are. We'll probably get them to you next week. I'll just start since I'm here. Micaiah, you're saying, and Robert, you're saying the magic has worn off in Nashville. And I'm saying Diego Pavia wants the shmoney. And so he's going to decide to go off. I think this is going to be a renewed rivalry. I think it's still going to be a Tennessee win, but Tennessee, especially with give me their quarterback's name. I'm not going to try his last name.
Nico
Iamaleava.
Thank you. He hasn't looked solid. I'm not sure what this is going to be. Obviously, Tennessee needs to win this game. They need to win it big, but I think it's going to be a fun game. What?
Robert just over here.
Dude, this thing's got so many things. I'm like trying to figure. I'm like,
we all have the same thing. It has been. Give me Vandy plus 10.5.
All right. Love that for you. Love that for everyone. Here's the deal. What we're going to do is, because Simeon took a whole bunch of money lines early in the season, me and Robert are going to get this back. Okay. And this is mostly because we are losing. And this is most importantly, I want everyone to know this because I'm a little bitch and I'm in last place and there's no way I'm sitting here without a shirt or pants on. Even if I lose, there's probably no way I'm sitting here without a shirt or pants on, but we'll cover that when it comes to the time. So I'm going to take Army money line. They are only 7-point favorites over UTSA, but give me Army money line to bounce back from ND and just get a big time dub on the road versus UTSA.
well, so I'm going to do my money line, and it's a game that no one's going to watch. It's going to be, I mean, it has some playoff implications, or conference champion implications, I should say. The University of Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns.
Love some good Cajuns.
Shout out Billy Napier.
Yeah, I'm going to have them whooping on the University of Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. So that would be the Louisiana money line.
All right, we're taking you up to Don Brown's final game. It came out yesterday. That is the 25th. Don Brown said, nope, I'm not done yet. And then UNC Chapel Hill said, yeah, LOL, yes, you are, you old F.
He means Mac Brown, everybody.
I mean Mac Brown, everybody. We were talking, there's too many guys named Brown, okay? There's too many brown men on the field.
Okay, all right.
Hey, I didn't
there
mean that.
There was a line. We stepped over it.
I didn't mean that. What are you guys talking about? That wasn't a racial joke. It wasn't a racial joke. I don't make those anymore. UNC is taking on NC State. That's a good old rivalry there in North Carolina. But it's going to be Mac Brown's final game as the head coach of. I don't even remember what they're the goats, but they're not the goats.
Tar Heels?
Thank you. Yes, their mascot's a goat though. And we're not
Ram.
talking Michael
It's a
Jordan.
Ram, actually.
Oh,
you sound like a noob. All
Built
right,
Ford tough. It's Dodge
I remember
Ram.
my first season.
All right.
All right.
All right. This is my
He's
turn.
had my number. Give me UNC minus 3.5.
All right. Here's the deal. Ohio State's taking on Michigan in the Horseshoe. Ohio State has had.
All right,
to
Robert,
listen...
your pick. He's taking.
Ohio State has listened to. Ohio State fans have listened, and Ohio State has listened to just Michigan just absolutely shit on Ohio State for the past 3 seasons. Then you had the whole Connor Stallions things. They feel ripped off. They feel like they're the better team. They feel like they should have won last year. They feel like Roman Wilson. It was a fun ball. Wah, wah, wah. Here's the thing. If Ryan Day runs up the score against Indiana, you better be certain he's running up this score against Michigan. And Michigan's defense isn't this bad, but Davis Warren is. And so give me Ohio State minus 20.5, which I got them at. It's up to 21 now, to just rub it into Michigan and then the fans will storm the field because they beat a 6-6 Michigan team. Also, if this pick doesn't work out and Michigan actually wins, hey, I'm here for it. But Michigan, don't not win and then not cover either. So either be terrible or be really awesome on Saturday. Okay, Ohio State minus 20.5.
So I am going to somewhat piggyback off of Micaiah, and the Michigan Ohio State over under right now is 42.5.
Well, too low.
I'm going to take the over because if Ohio State does not come out and just beat down Michigan, not only should Ryan Day be fired even though they win, but they should run him out of the state of Ohio. Because in reality, even though I'm a Michigan fan, there is no scenario where Ohio State shouldn't beat Michigan by at least 28, 35 points. And I'm hoping that Michigan scores at least one touchdown, gets me to 45, because right now I'm taking the over of 42.5.
Why can't Michigan ever blow out Ohio State? Why does it always have to be the other way around? Every single time. Michigan,
because the games are more entertaining when it's close. Because if you turn on Michigan Ohio State at 12:30 and Ohio State's up 28-0, what are you going to do?
Oh, well, we're going to turn the game on at 12:30 and the game's not even going to start yet. That's my biggest issue with big game kickoff.
Yeah,
it doesn't start until like 12:45. What are we doing, guys? You already ruined college football by putting the primetime game on at noon instead of at night. This is just old white man rant. You know what, Simeon? Go ahead. Make your FCS pick.
No, we have one more FBS pick, but good try. And I got this game at 8.5. I don't love it where it's at 9. I'm pulling a Robert. It's a Tuesday night game. By the time this comes out, you'll know the winner, and you'll know if I'm 1-0 or 0-1. Give me Toledo minus 8.5 against Akron. That's all you're getting.
All right, great. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do my FCS pick because I'm not sold on my last one. My FCS winner, and again, these are money lines because there are no, we couldn't find odds. I'm sure if we were real degenerates, we could find odds. But so we're just picking FCS first round matchup winners. I'm going to take Montana because Tennessee State has to travel to Montana. The high is 36 degrees, and the game's at nighttime, which means that it's going to be closer to the low, which is 26. People from the South don't do well in cold weather. That's my only reasoning here. So go Montana Grizzlies.
I will follow suit because I have watched about as much FCS football as I have. I don't even know what I could compare it to because it's been nothing.
Water polo?
What?
Played water polo?
There you go. Yeah, great. Good one. I am going to take Rhode Island to beat Central Connecticut. Absolutely. Well, the Rhode Island are the Rams.
No, Central Connecticut.
Central Connecticut, they look like Blue Devils. They could just be Devils. Let's see. Blue
Devils footballs.
Yes.
Football, yeah.
Yes. So we're going to go with Rhode Island. It is a noon game, so buckle up. Tune in.
They're in New Britain, Connecticut. For the same reason Micaiah took Montana, I'm taking New Hampshire. They host UT Martin. Shout out. Again, same reason. We're taking boys from Tennessee, putting them up. It's going to be it's not a late game, but it's still going to be in the 30s or 40s. Up in, I don't even know. I looked it up. Up in New Hampshire. It's New Hampshire.
Rob, do you got a final one? I don't want to leave dead air here. I'm still deciding between Oklahoma State, Colorado, and another game. So take it away if you got one.
Yeah. So this last pick, this year, it's been a tough year. A lot of weird stuff's been going on. Someone in this group has been cheating their way to the top. And
we're tied, sir.
We have reached the point where the buck stops here. So I'm going to need my boy Micaiah hit the outro because me and Micaiah are taking Indiana money line. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going home.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals. Go Hoosiers!
We'll see you next week.
We'll talk to you next week, everyone. Wash your hands, you filthy animals.